Alright, 3 and a 2 and a... Hi everybody, welcome to another episode, Trip Around the Multiverse, with your host, the man who is the future of wrestling? Carl Charles.
Which is now the president of wrestling.
Yeah, he is, isn't it? Wow, times have
And
changed.
I'm full of change that no one can see. See what chance.
That's from the song. And in this episode, we're going to be talking about one of the most dominant wrestling factions in the early to mid 2000s. And it paved the way for the WWE, kind of, as one of them is still wrestling in 2025. Crazy! And we're talking about the stable known as Evolution, with my boy Uncle Dave Batista, Ric Flair, Papa H, Triple H, and Randall Keith Orton.
And they weren't even together for that long, actually.
No, 2003, 2005, yeah. Like,
I will say as well, it did its job of elevating people to a certain, like, whatever the group was put together for a specific reason, and it did its job.
Yeah, it did its job.
You had Triple H, who was the star, big main event star at the time.
Yeah, the present.
Triple H. Ric Flair as the past.
Yep.
The mentor. He brought with him prestige.
Yeah.
And legitimacy. Even though at that point he was 50 something, and he was basically the dirtiest player in the game.
Literally.
Cheating his way to winning, but that's how you do, right?
Yeah. Adapt the times.
You had the future, which would be Randy Orton.
Yeah. He was like 23 at the time.
And Batista.
Who was technically
from his surname.
Who's technically like the present and future?
Yeah. I think he ranking them. You'd say Triple H is the most important, and Ric Flair is the manager slash.
Yeah.
He's in the middle ground somewhere, right?
Yeah.
It's designed to push Randy on, and then Batista underneath him.
Yeah.
Batista would be like, well, if he gets pushed, lucky for him.
Yeah.
If he gets volatile,
Yeah. If you're going to become a multi-millionaire actor,
even better, right? I think what was funny as well with this group is I think Batista was in it for a little bit, and then all of a sudden he got injured, so he disappeared for a while, and then they filmed the Time Trump vignettes and stuff like that with Mark Jindrak, who then, when you see the Evolution footage, just gets cut and sliced to the side, so he's not in with them.
Yeah, you're like, oh, okay.
And then they cut footage of Batista back into that when he's not with them.
Yeah. It's like, oh.
Which is like, oh, okay.
You could have just held off, but alright, sure.
It's just, you have the money and the time to refilm bits and pieces with Batista in it. Then just insert footage and say, yo.
Yeah. But no, okay.
Maybe it's too much to rent out their helicopter again.
Maybe, because they're probably loading money than they are now, to be fair. Yeah. But yeah, it was... Because I think I was watching wrestling a lot this time. Yeah. But I don't think... I rarely watched Raw because I think Raw was live. And I couldn't stop to watch it. And then I just watched SmackDown. So most of my watching of like Evolution was when they did those little hour bite-sized shows where they like tell you what happened in a week in WWE and show segments and stuff like that. Like, what was it? Not Shotgun. There was some show. Might have been.
Was it Shotgun? You sure it wasn't Shotgun?
I can't remember. It was something. Okay. And I had to watch it, and I was like, oh, okay, that's...
It's the WWE equivalent of WCW Worldwide.
Yes. Basically, yes. And then I think at some point I was able to start watching Raw, and then that's when I got fully into like Evolution. Because I just thought I always liked Triple H, because I always thought Triple H is the man. Still do. I still think he's the man to this day. And I don't know. There was something cool about Randy Orton.
Yeah.
And then Batista just scared me.
Wait. So when you first okay, do you remember how they first became Evolution? not it became Evolution, as in got the group together to become Evolution. Because they didn't just suddenly just get put together as a team. You know, like in the Four Horsemen, they were like, yeah, we're here together. And the only time you've seen four people cause this much damage to the world or whatever, right?
Yeah.
It was the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse, and then they became the Four Horsemen. They just got grouped together and they became the group.
Because I remember Triple H was with Ric Flair anyway at this point.
Yeah.
And then just before this, if I remember correctly, both Randy Orton and Batista were on SmackDown. And then Randy... They both moved to Raw. Because this is when Batista left the gimmick of being... Was it Deacon Batista? Yeah.
With the chain around his neck. Right?
Yeah.
Reverend Devon.
Yeah. And then...
Was this Randy Orton, by the way, when he was wearing the biker shorts and not the trunks?
Yeah, he was wearing the biker shorts and he was doing the overdrive, the worst finisher of all time. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he had a weird haircut as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think not long after that, Triple H was in the main event with someone. I can't remember who. Might have been Scott Steiner or someone. And then Randy Orton and Batista come out and help them. And then I think they kind of formed off of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do recall. Okay, something along that time, and I do think it is Scott Steiner. Because they did a promo where they beat him up, right?
Yeah.
And then the thing is like, when you wake up one morning and you're beat up, Evolution has passed you by.
You're like...
And that's how you get the name. Well, that's how they adopted the name.
Yeah. Evolution.
This is why they had to do Triple H's Scott Steiner bodybuilding pose down.
Yeah. One of the greatest segments of all time. Yeah, sorry. Because it's so ridiculous. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they started wearing suits and stuff, and
Triple H then did he clean shave himself?
Yeah, when he looked weird. He looked
like old school Hunter Hearst Helmsley, which was like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, beardless Triple H is weird.
Yeah.
I never liked that. Only when he was Hunter Hearst Helmsley and then like early DX, yeah.
So it's when he becomes Triple H, that's when you think, okay, that's the beard.
That's the beard. Yeah, not.
Yeah. Or the Lemmy mustache.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because he had that during the Revolution as well, didn't he? Yeah, that was awesome. Oh, and yeah, I just remember like for the next like 2 or 3 years, I'm just like running Raw because if I remember correctly, Randy became Intercontinental Champion because he beat Jericho, or was it RVD?
I think for some reason I'm having a feeling it's RVD.
Yeah. No, yeah, it is RVD. Yeah, he beat RVD for the Intercontinental title, and then Flair and Batista won the tag titles.
Yeah, which makes sense.
Makes sense.
I think for the Batista push, it makes sense.
Yeah, even though basically it was Batista doing all the heavy lifting because he's Batista. Yeah, and Flair was just...
I think this is where Batista would beat up everybody, and then Ric Flair would get the tag and he'd pin.
Mm-hmm. Or to put them in a figure four because they're passed out. They just won. Yeah.
Yeah. Which makes... I understand it. Of course, you know.
Yeah, same.
How much could Flair do at this point?
Not much, to be fair.
He's there. Well, okay, I would say Dave wasn't the greatest pro wrestler at that point either.
No.
So you got a mixture of Flair's captivating charisma, over the top antics, to draw people to watch.
Yeah.
You know, and then Dave doing his power move stuff.
Yeah.
When he gets the hot tag.
Yeah.
Which then makes sense with how the match is coordinated.
Yeah. It's still forgetting how huge Batista was back then. Like, dude was.
You mean like body size?
Yeah. Like, he was 318 pounds, but just muscle. You know what I mean? Like, because obviously he weighed more than Brock. I think.
He's a big guy, and it's strange that they never actually had a match.
Yeah, that would mean like, ooh.
Yeah. No. There was time where Batista had a match with John Cena, right?
Yeah.
And I did not expect that match to be any good.
True.
It was that SummerSlam, by the way.
Is that the one where he broke his neck?
Sorry?
Yeah, the one when he broke John Cena's neck by accident.
Might have been that one.
Yeah.
No, but that was afterwards. I mean, he finished the match, didn't have
Yeah.
Right? But yeah. All they claimed he did it, right?
Mm.
No, I think he.
I think he did.
Yeah.
He didn't break. He injured his neck. He didn't break it. But yeah, they made it sound worse than it was. Yeah.
From here.
Yeah.
John Cena went to do his jumping leg drop or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Batista caught him with into a power bomb.
Yeah.
That's where they said that's where John Cena's neck issue happened.
Yeah.
Right. But yes, they made it worse than it was to get Batista more over. But at that point, it was already a main eventer. So
yeah.
I'm saying, surprisingly, they had the quality of match that you would not expect for those two to have.
Yeah. Which is crazy. And I do remember, I think it would have been WrestleMania 21. No, it wasn't WrestleMania 21. In WrestleMania 20, when it was The Rock and Sock Connection versus Evolution on a 2-on-3 handicap tag match.
Yeah. Now, the first time I watched that match, I was like, whatever. But now I watch it back, right? I'm like, this match is great.
Yeah, man, it's awesome.
Only because it's like The Rock and Ric Flair. They don't care. They care about. It's when I say they don't care about the match. What it is, they care about entertaining the crowd.
Yeah.
And that elevates the quality of the match.
Yeah.
And that match was designed to make Randy Orton
the star.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Exactly. Oh yeah, because he wins the world title like 4 months later, doesn't he? Yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Wait, and I think at this point, did he have the Intercontinental title?
Yes, because he lost. Yeah, he had the Intercontinental title because he loses the Intercontinental title not long before winning the world title. Yeah, from He Should Not Be Named.
So after this match, which Batista is there.
Yeah.
But out of mind, outside ish.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he does the least in the match. No, I recall him doing the least, but that's because I don't recall him doing anything.
Yeah, same. Now I'm thinking back at it, I don't remember doing much.
I do believe then because Mick Foley gets pinned with the RKO, and then the next month afterwards, Randy Orton and Mick Foley have a hardcore match for the Intercontinental title.
That match is awesome. Yeah, I love that match. I love that match.
Randy Orton wears a t-shirt in.
Yeah.
He got to get dropped in contacts.
Yeah.
For the visuals.
I love that match because I remember my mum came in. I was watching that. This is back in 2004. And she's like, "This is a bit much." It's like, well, could be worse. And then
he showed her.
Then she saw the thumb tap. He's like, "Wow."
Yeah. Oh, yeah. King of the Ring '98, mum.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah. I think if my mum saw that, I don't think I'd be able to watch wrestling. Because my dad saw it. Like, that's all staged. Like, I don't think it is. And then to find out years later, dude needed to die. But yeah,
yeah.
That's commitment.
Yeah. But was that before? I think this was the stage. That was 2004. Right?
Yeah.
This was the stage after. So we've skipped a big, massive chunk. Yeah, we'll go back.
Yeah. I think
go back in time.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Scott Steiner versus Triple H was 2003.
Yeah.
And then you had that was Royal Rumble. Yep.
Yeah.
They had the next match at No Way Out, which got booed out of the building. Which the trailer, the mini movie, whatever they have at the beginning, the vignette had Evanescence playing, which was kind of like, all right, they don't work with this sort of thing. Yeah. Bring Me to Life does not vibe with this. Anyways. And that's the one where Scott Steiner was doing Suplex City before Brock, but then he booed him out the building. Yeah,
because it's the same suplex.
Yeah. Even though Suplex City is now the same German suplex, but people accept. You know?
Yeah, I don't know.
People don't take Tiger suplexes though.
But you know what's hilarious, right?
Yeah.
He was doing the Bay to back suplex, wasn't he? Which, in a way, is more impressive than a German suplex. But okay,
I thought he was doing the Tiger suplexes.
I think he did both. He was doing a mixture of like Bay to Bay or a Tiger. Like, okay.
Oh, and they had the is it the Tiger Suplex 03 because that's the one where Steiner did the massive stumble after he Triple H over.
Yeah.
Not a great time for both of them.
No, because this when Steiner had a drop foot. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. They shouldn't. As much as I would have liked the Steiner to do his Maniac promos and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
If he was injured, they should have pushed it back a little bit.
Yeah. But
or put him in multi-man match where we could do his stuff to people and then.
But saying that, right?
Yeah.
It's slightly off topic, but it's not because it's talking about Steiner. by the end of at the end of WCW, I would say Scott Steiner was already on the decline. You know what I mean, like, was he doing great the last year of WCW? No.
Right. So here's the thing, right?
Yeah.
Well, his in-ring action, okay, prime Scott Steiner
Yeah.
was much better in-ring action than Big Papa Pump, right?
Yeah.
But Big Papa Pump has the charisma and the
energy, but
and the antics and the personality.
Yeah.
To carry it with less wrestling skill.
Yeah, but like when you put him with people,
but Big Papa Pump had serviceable, if not quite good wrestling skill, right?
In WCW,
yeah, like you said, when he got injured, when he was on the decline, when he was come to the end of WCW.
Yeah, it kind of like should've. But good on him, he got his money.
Yeah.
Got blacklisted for a couple of years, but yeah, you know.
came back with the steroid meathead persona from TNA. And
man.
TNA, the main event last year, it's got 2 Fs.
That's when that was a career renaissance to him, yeah. But
and he's looking at me like a piece of bacon.
You'd actually wine and dine, yeah. He's great. Got
9 days out of the week.
He's not problematic at all.
He became a walking meme at that point.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? Yeah.
But I was talking to a friend at work about this. We'll go back to the evolution in a minute. Like, I reckon he was doing it on purpose.
Oh yeah. You don't. I think some of the stuff that he was saying in WCW, where he's like, "I'm a loaded Sex Pistol and I'm ready to explode," that was a bit more serious, yeah.
Yeah.
And then he just started taking it completely over the top.
Yeah.
And you're like, you know what? He knows the direction he's going.
Like, all the stuff in TNA, yeah, he knew he was doing. He was trolling. Like, he was a troll before we knew what troll was, yeah. But yeah, and then.
But yeah. So there's a big chunk of time where Batista got injured and he was out of the group.
Yeah.
And I remember Triple H had the whole Goldberg feud.
Yeah, then he came back during that, didn't
he?
Yeah.
So when did he start the Goldberg feud? Was it August?
That'd have been.
Okay, hold on. So it was Scott Steiner. We're talking about the Reign of Terror here, but not really, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So defeated Shawn Michaels for the title in 2002. At the end of 2002. Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it Armageddon? Yeah.
Yeah.
Beat Scott Steiner twice.
Yeah.
Royal Rumble and No Way Out.
Yeah.
Beat Booker T.
Yeah, WrestleMania.
Travesty.
Yeah.
WrestleMania 19 took forever to pin him as well, but you know.
Yeah.
And was racist as well. On top of that.
Yeah.
With your nappy hair and your suckers, and then you say, "Oh no, it's because he used to be in WCW, or because he went to jail because he was the very Wendy's that he worked at."
Like
choose a lane. You don't throw him money.
Yeah.
To chauffeur you. That's got nothing to do with either.
Like, I still feel like if you're gonna go to racism route, just go full on with, not full on, but at least kind of know your playing into that rather than like backtracking. Like, no, it's this. Like, no, just say.
And then you have to, if you are going to racism, then you have to have the guy who's the victim
win
of the racism win.
Yeah.
You can't go that and not.
Yeah.
Apparently you can, but
What? Yeah.
Oh. So who did Triple H have a match with in April? Was it Nash?
I know May is saying that they were feuding with Kevin Nash and Shawn Michaels. Yeah. And then
so at some point he was doing the Goldberg feud.
That's near the end, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. So in August, right? Because we go to like Dave Batista. Oh no. So yeah.
Because I think isn't it at SummerSlam is when The Rock fought Goldberg, and then I think
no, that's at Backlash.
Oh, Backlash.
Yeah. Because SummerSlam is where it was the Elimination Chamber. Triple H with his quad tear biker short things, right? His compression pants, yeah.
Was Elimination Chamber at Survivor Series?
No. This one's at SummerSlam. I'll go through it and you will remember it for specifics.
Okay.
The Elimination Chamber, where so it was Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Jericho, Kevin Nash, Randy Orton, and Goldberg.
Yeah.
And this is where Goldberg came out to do his entrance and he slipped over. Now they cut it from the edge.
Yeah.
And then Jericho, I think. So Nash was going to powerbomb someone. He got super kicked by Shawn Michaels, and Jericho then did the the actual jackknife pin, not the jackknife powerbomb.
Yeah.
Isn't a pin.
Yeah.
Right? They eliminated Nash, and then when his Goldberg came out, he just speared, like he lifted Randy Orton up for the gorilla press, and then dropped him on the shoulder. And
Yeah.
Then he speared him to oblivion.
Yeah.
Then he speared Jericho. Then he speared Shawn Michaels, and jackhammered both of them. And then Triple H was the only one left. Where Goldberg like a pure beast, right?
Yeah.
And Triple H with his injured groin area.
Yeah.
He told them to close the gate, like the elimination chamber door, right?
Yeah.
And Triple H is on the outside. He's got his feet onto the thing, pinning the door in. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then and he's pushing the referees, and they can't interfere.
Yeah.
Or whatever, right? They can't stop him. And Goldberg then kicks the bulletproof glass, quote unquote.
Oh yeah.
Breaks it. Yeah. Goes in there, starts smashing Triple H, and the crowd is going wild and everything. He's like, oh, this Goldberg. He's just gonna murder Triple H because that's exactly what he's there for, right? And then what do you know? Triple H gets slipped. Ric Flair slips Triple H in the sledgehammer. Goldberg goes for a spear, gets KO'd by the sledgehammer.
Yeah.
Pin 1, 2, 3, and you're like, okay, well, and then I think. Yeah. And you're like, what's the point? Because next month, where they beat up Goldberg, right? And they go to pedigree. He goes to pedigree Goldberg, but Goldberg drops before the pedigree happens.
Yeah.
So they pick him up and pedigree him again.
Yeah, I forgot about that. That was terrible.
I think that was when there was a match happening. I can't remember what match, but Triple H is like, I put £10,000.
Yeah, he put a bounty on Goldberg, innit? Yeah.
And then that was the match. That was where Batista came back to stomp the ankle of Goldberg.
Yeah.
Like that.
Also, forgot to mention quickly before that was when he was feuding with Kane, and then guess when Kane was Intercontinental, because Kane wins the Intercontinental title off of Randy Orton, I think, and then they have the. Wait, am I thinking about this wrong?
Are you getting mixed up with the KE Vic saga?
No. Wait. Okay. Does KE Vic saga lead to him losing the mask?
I think does he? I think he has the mask before. Okay, so Kane is Intercontinental champion at some point, right?
Yeah.
Kane is Intercontinental champion, and Triple H is the world champion, and then it's a unification match.
Yeah.
And then after that, I think Kane gets. The next couple of Raws afterwards, that's when Kane gets demasked.
They have the title versus mask match. Yeah. And then that's when he goes for his feud to RVD to Shane. Blah blah blah. Yeah. Cool. Just try to remember that. Yeah.
Triple H. Oh no, I said the 10. What's it? I said $10,000. I think it's $100,000.
$100,000. Yes, Wikipedia
says. I was like, $10,000 doesn't sound that much.
Yeah, why would you even do it?
But then again, if you know your mate's gonna get it, it don't matter how much it is. Your mate's just gonna give your mate's gonna take the money anyway.
Yeah, it's not lie.
Apparently, yes, there were some people I think going for the bounty, but the only one that got it was Batista because he started epitomizing Goldberg, right?
Yeah.
And then Goldberg wins the title.
Survivor Series.
So he loses the Elimination Chamber in August. And he wins the title in September. It's like, what was the point? He could have just, if he was going to win it, the next month, might as well just give it to him so Triple H can go off and heal.
Actually, he won it in.
And only that, then I think October. Is it September? I can't remember. He does have a match with Triple H where he beats Triple H again.
So it's saying here, Wikipedia, he wins it. 1 second. Yeah, he wins it at Survivor Series.
Did he win the Survivor Series? Goldberg?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Wait, let me just double check that.
I think you because I think no. I think he wins it before Survivor Series. I'm pretty sure, but this is the time period where Raw and SmackDown were alternating pay-per-views, so there might have not been a pay-per-view in October for Goldberg to defend the title. So maybe he did defend the title against Triple H at Survivor Series.
So Despite injury, retained the championship against Triple H at Survivor. Yeah, so when did he win it then? Unforgiven. Yeah.
Yeah.
Title, career versus title match. Yep. So that was in September. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So at that point, you would agree with me. He might as well just have won it in September, in August. Because then why having rematches with an injured Triple H in the next two pay-per-views? Which it's like it'd have been better for Triple H just to take those time off and maybe have Randy Orton or someone like that, just another member of Evolution. Well, like Randy Orton, because he could take the loss, right? Or even Ric Flair put him in Triple H, just like something, so Triple H can go off and heal for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then
I don't know. I think maybe the reason why I didn't win at Survivor Series is like if it, not sorry, SummerSlam. Double S's, I get confused. It's just it seemed too predictable, you know. But they wasn't swerve heavy back then. It was like, hey, let's not do the predictable stuff. But I get what you mean. You should just done it.
At that point, I know Goldberg may have not been white hot because when he was feuding with The Rock was outmatching with pure charisma and entertainment, right?
Yeah.
But Goldberg was getting the reactions in that particular match, you know, and then lead up to it. So, and if you're injured, if you got one of your stars injured, you might as well just, if you're going to do the title change anyway, it doesn't matter then to the plan if it's a little bit before.
Yeah, but times are different then. They didn't think that well.
Well, maybe because as well Goldberg was a WCW.
Yeah, that's the other thing I say as well. Yeah.
And then Triple H won the title back in a triple threat match with
Kane, isn't it?
Goldberg, Kane, and Triple H.
Yeah.
Where Goldberg got low. He got in the goozle, the choke grab, right, from Kane.
Yeah.
Triple H low blowed him, and then he got the choke slam, and then Evolution came and pulled Kane out of the ring, I think.
Yeah.
And Triple H
got the win.
Just put his arm over Goldberg. Which,
yeah.
I mean, personally, he should have just picked him up and pedigree, but whatever.
For some reason, I feel like Goldberg wouldn't want that.
What, a pedigree from Triple H?
Yeah, because Goldberg's weird.
I think Goldberg would rather take a low blow and two finishes to get pinned.
I don't know, because remember he had they had like beef, one-sided beef in real life.
Yeah.
And I feel like Goldberg says, I don't want to be taken down by his move. And I believe this because the whole Fiend situation in 2019.
Well, Goldberg's, I'm not saying I'm Goldberg, but I'm saying, logically speaking, the person in charge, who we will not name, has more control over what happens in a match than another guy. You could probably negotiate the finish, but I don't think you can outright tell the person I don't want to do that, unless of course you got a certain level of power, and they are afraid that that you will actually leave. But then you can sue you for contract breach of contract. So I don't
know. I feel like
that's the Owen Hart situation, by the way. When they got rid of Brett. And then they got rid of Bulldog and Neidhart, and they're like, nah, Owen, you ain't going to WCW with them because we'll sue you for breach of contract. And if you can do that, then why is
Yeah, I still think it's a Goldberg thing. He just seems like a weird dude to me.
I think there are there are times and situations where some people have more significant power to do certain things, right?
Yeah.
I don't think I would personally say here that Goldberg is a politica, because he's going to take the pin anyway. If you were going to take the pin, if you were Goldberg and you were going to take the pin, might as well get two finishes than take the pin, right?
Yeah, but I don't have an ego.
Rather than one.
I mean, I don't have an ego.
If you're going to lose anyways, right?
Yeah.
Might as well make yourself look good, like almighty in the process.
Yeah. Well, again,
You couldn't exactly say I'm not going to lose, because that's a different situation altogether. Might as well, if it was me, I'd be like, all right, so I'm going to get pinned by this guy, right? So let me eat all the finishes. And that way I look like a massive beast.
Yeah. Well, again, this is
like they do to Braun Strowman, right? Where he eats everyone's finishes, and then somehow one spear from Roman Reigns, it's more powerful than every finish.
Yeah, because it's the spear of God, but you know.
But yeah. So so that was at the tail end of 2003.
Yeah. And then we go into 2004, and I think who did he wrestle at? Because I know at Royal Rumble, it was the Dudleys versus Flair and Batista, and they successfully won their match, and they kept the titles in a table match, and then and this is when it led to Shawn Michaels versus Triple H, and it's last man standing match, isn't it?
Yeah.
And
Which
Triple
then
H.
was a double count, which people were like, so usually you'd expect to have a win and stuff like that, but this was a draw essentially, and surprisingly, people did not feel ripped off.
Yeah. Well, okay.
So, you know when you have DQ finishes and stuff like that?
Yeah.
As long as it makes sense within the context, I think people accept it.
Yeah.
Like,
accept it.
Yeah. It's not. If as long as you're not using it as a cheap way to stop someone getting taken a loss. I think that's when it infuriates people more.
Yeah. Or it'd be in the main event.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then I think this is also when
Yeah. So we were backtracking there, right? And this is when we're going to skip past WrestleMania. No, hold on. Yeah, past WrestleMania, because we covered that already with the Rock and Soul connection.
Oh yeah, we can't really talk about Triple H match. Yeah. Well, he and Shawn Michaels had a single match where none of them won at WrestleMania.
There was a match with Triple H and Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
No, there's a match that involved Triple H and Shawn Michaels, and Triple H tapped out.
He lost the title. He just somehow lost the title. We don't know.
Yeah.
And then the title was vacant for 4 months.
According to the video game that came out at the time.
Yeah.
The main event of WrestleMania 20 was Goldberg versus Brock.
Okay.
You didn't play? Did you play that? I can't remember which one it was. But yeah, they shifted the match.
Because it would have been after said accident, said incident happened.
Yeah. I think it was one of the. No, it probably wasn't for that year then.
No, probably like 2008 or 9 or something like that. Yeah, afterwards.
No, it's probably one of those where they did, where in the game you can play the main events of the WrestleMania.
Yeah. I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah. I have that one. Yeah. I was like, okay, I'm okay with the original history. Okay.
Yeah.
Even though you could have just said that Eddie versus Kurt was the main event because it's for a title, but okay, sure, whatever. Yeah. And then I think during this time, between here and SummerSlam, Flair and Batista lost the tag titles, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Can't remember. But I think they lose it before WrestleMania.
I'm gonna be honest, right? I didn't follow their tag ring that much.
Neither do I. I kind of forgot until we saw it.
Yeah. All we know is that there was at one point Triple H had the world title, Randy Orton had the Intercontinental title, and Batista and Flair had the tag titles, right?
Yeah.
And you see that picture of all of them holding up all their titles.
Yeah, that's so sexy. Yeah.
And then, but I don't remember anything in between that.
Because I'm just like.
I don't remember I remember Triple H's run with the title because of controversies.
Yeah.
And how he was burying people and whatever, right?
Buried, right? But yeah.
And Randy Orton clawing his way up with the Intercontinental title. So you remember the pieces of it. They were trying to give him main event high caliber talent.
Yeah.
Foley and stuff. Like people with actual reputations.
Yeah.
Put Randy Orton over.
Yeah.
But Triple H, Ric Flair and Batista.
I just remember they lost it before WrestleMania because I've got WrestleMania 20 in the background right now. I was skipping through it, and there was a world tag team title match before that, and the champions were Booker T and RVD, I think. So I think they lost it to them at some point before that. Yeah. Wow. And then I think later on, Randy Orton.
Randy Orton had that match with Cactus Jack, not Mick Foley.
Yeah, Cactus Jack. Yeah.
Yeah, for the Intercontinental title.
Yeah.
Actually, hold on, no. Let me say something else, and then we're back to that, right? So the Triple H match, there was a rematch for the world title, which happened.
Oh yeah.
And then Shawn Michaels tapped out to the sharpshooter.
They didn't. Okay.
Yeah. That was at Backlash as well. That was the.
So they did another triple threat match. I mean, another
yeah,
match.
They did a
Okay.
rematch. Yeah.
That's
I think it's because it was in Canada.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah.
But let me ask you about the Randy Orton versus Cactus Jack match.
Yeah.
I've not seen it.
Have you? Oh.
Give me your review of it.
It's an awesome match. Like,
I've seen highlights, but it was sometimes I don't like to watch certain Mick Foley Cactus Jack matches because I feel they're too. You know when you got Swerve and Hangman.
yeah.
And it goes. I feel like Cactus Jack is a character, not Mankind, by the way, and not Dude Love. But Cactus Jack is the one that goes too far.
Yeah, he takes unnecessary bumps. Yeah. I'd say there's a few in that, if I remember correctly.
Would you say this is more tame than matches I've already seen?
Yeah, it's more tamed. Yeah.
Okay, so I could go back and watch this match and be like, oh, you know.
Yeah. What? This match compared to the year later when it's Foley and Edge at WrestleMania, that's more violent.
Oh, okay. Then this match is not.
Yeah. Nah, not bad. That's more violent in my opinion. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And then, wow. So Flair and Batista win the tag team titles back. All right.
Yeah.
And
they had 2 reigns.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
And then they lose it to Edge and retracted.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
Okay. That's okay. I didn't know it happened.
You know what? I didn't even remember they had this.
Neither did I. I just thought they had like a kind of longish one reign, but okay, cool.
Yeah. Exactly. That just tells you how much
evolution.
Yeah. But it's more like, well, here are the 2 key people, right?
Yeah.
And don't forget Uncle Dave in the background.
Yeah. Well, gives Dave something to do until we push him in 2 years' time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or a year's time. Yeah.
Well, no, 1 year's time, right?
Yeah.
At this point, in 2004.
Yeah, because I think they start setting the seeds after the SummerSlam thing. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
This is where Triple H can never be able to beat Redacted by himself.
Yeah.
And then Randy Orton somehow becomes #1 contender.
Oh, we skipped a bit as well.
Go on.
Like that weird friendship they have with Eugene. Yeah. And
this is why Redacted's title reign is not exactly
great.
World title reign is not exactly critically acclaimed because he's even fighting Triple H, cohorts of Triple H, and we'll count Eugene as part of a cohort of Triple H because at this point he's trying to buddy. Oh, you can be an Evolution member if you know, and then the Kane was the other title match he had.
Yeah. Yeah. It was good on paper, but like realistically, like, was that great? No. And then why that feud happened where Triple H is basically taking advantage of a mentally disabled person. Yeah.
But at this point, I accept it.
Yeah. At this point, yeah. And then
look, this is the same guy during the Survivor Series, like when he was with his team. Oh yeah, you tried to kill me. You put me in ambulance. You said that I did stuff with my dead girlfriend.
Yeah.
In the casket, you know, it's like, oh yeah, my bad.
Yeah. I'm cheeky. Yeah.
Exactly.
And then I know a bit after this is when Edge beats Randy Orton for the Intercontinental title, and then because after Randy Orton's like 7-month long reign. He's only in the Intercontinental title. Is he 1 time or 2 time?
Yeah. He's only in the Intercontinental title. I think the other secondary title he won was the US title not that long ago.
Yeah, like 2017 or something. Like, it wasn't that long ago. Yeah.
Was it 2017? I thought it was 2000. That was after COVID.
I think you're right. Yeah. And then that's when this is when we start seeing the rise of Mr. Orton.
Yeah, getting pushed a bit too quickly, I think. Only because it's basically no build towards it.
Literally.
He won the #1 contenders match maybe even 4 weeks before SummerSlam.
Yeah.
And then bam, he's in the title match.
Yeah. And then
the title.
Well, no, he finds the title. He finds the title, as it says. He stumbles to the ring.
Title, yeah? He acquires it, right? We'll put it that way.
Yeah? He stumbled to the ring and looked around for 30 minutes and then found it. So yeah. that's what happened. And
yeah, and then Triple H is yeah, like they do a celebration and they lift him up, and Batista's got him like Randy Orton on his shoulders.
yeah,
And then Triple H puts his thumbs up, and then he puts the thumbs down.
famous
and
thumbs
then
up, thumbs
the
down.
the electric chair.
Yep.
And then you're like, all right, fine, okay.
Cool. Instant
so
face
Randy
turn
Orton
for
had
Randy
to,
Orton.
like, yeah, they kick Randy Orton out of Evolution. He then has a new Randy Orton T-shirt, which has the Randy Orton pose fully evolved over the top of it. Okay.
Yeah, I like
all
that
right,
T-shirt.
fine.
Yeah.
I get
Not
it,
subtle
makes
at all.
sense.
Yeah.
And then he proceeds to lose the title 1 month later.
Yeah. Which back then I was kind of pissed about. I was like, you know what? I get it, because realistically, when you think about it, he's been wrestling for 3 years at this point. It's a bit too soon. No, 3 years. Because technically he started in 2002. So 2 years. So it's kind of like... Because I remember I was a Randy Orton fan at this time as well. I was like, this is a bit too soon. What does he do off... Like...
Yeah.
What do you do after that? Like...
Yeah.
You got nothing
I
to...
remember watching this with my friend, and we were... So I watched it already, and then I brought the tape over to his house to watch. And Randy Orton got hit with the chair, and then he got pedigreed on the chair.
Yeah.
And my friend was like, all right. And he was expecting Randy Orton to kick out.
Yeah.
He's like, what?
You're like...
What? Wait. Not because he's Randy Orton fan, or because, you know, the way the match was set up and placed or whatever. He was just like, this guy won the title, and then all of a sudden he loses the title.
Yeah, just like that.
Yeah, it's like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's why he was expecting him to kick out.
Yeah, same. I was like, okay.
Yeah. Where are we going here now, you know?
Yeah. And then he became kind of like evolution hunter sort of guy, who's like
Yeah.
always in their business, but they always had the upper hand. And then, if I remember correctly, what did he do? He didn't do much after that, if I remember correctly.
Wait, because I believe there was a match he had that if he lost a match, was this the rematch at Survivor Series? Right.
It could be.
No,
because I think,
I know that he had a match with Triple H. Might not be in Survivor Series. Wait, was it wrong? No, he had a match with Triple H, right? He could not challenge Triple H for the title if he lost. And then he did proceed to lose that match.
Because I know, why am I thinking it? Because I know at Survivor Series it was a 5-on-5 match where it was Triple H. I think it's 4-on-4. Triple H, Batista, Snitsky, and Edge. He teamed them to beat Randy Orton, Maven, Chris Jericho, and Redacted.
Yeah, and this is where, by the way, when like so each.
The other way around. Sorry, the other team won, and then.
Yeah. So if the team that won, all their members control Raw for
a month or something like that.
Yeah. Well, you know, each one for each week for the month. Right?
Yeah.
And let's be honest, right? You would put yourself in a title match.
Yeah. Because didn't
so
Maven?
Each one of them should have got a world title match every week leading up to the next pay-per-view.
Because I know Maven did it, and then Triple H beat him. I can't remember. I can't. Yeah, he actually did it.
The one that didn't do it, but
he did it, and I was like, Maven, you silly.
Well, no, but why not?
Why not? Yeah, why not?
Why wouldn't
It'd be dumb if he
It
didn't.
just makes the most sense.
Yeah. And then.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure. Yeah, and I'm trying to remember.
Because it says
I'm
here.
sure Randy Orton had a match at some point, and he was like, he couldn't challenge Triple H for the title if he lost afterwards.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Because I know the Triple H they had to vacate the title.
Yeah.
In December.
Yeah. And that's when they did the Elimination Chamber early 2005.
Yeah.
Talking about
New Year's Revolution on the New Year's Revolution on the 9th of January. Yeah.
Which had Batista, Randy Orton, Triple H. Was it Edge in that one? I know Jericho and Redacted was also in it, right?
That sounds familiar. Let me double check.
But my logic was, if Randy Orton lost the match where he couldn't compete for the title. Why is he in this match?
Yeah.
And then the logic is, oh, there, because it's not the same. This is not the same reign for Triple H. It's a different reign. Because he couldn't challenge him during the initial
Yeah,
one.
it kind
Once
of.
it got vacated and he won it back, that's different. Okay, whatever.
Well, technically as well, it was for a vacant title.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
So yeah, I guess that's one of the smart things they kind of fell into.
Yeah. But what they wanted to do was different. We'll get to it. Actually, I'll say it now.
Yes, sir.
So, actually, no. Let's go through the elimination chamber and then I'll say the bit.
Yeah.
Because it's got yeah. Triple H got put in the crippler crossface and the walls of Jericho.
Yeah.
And Batista took ages coming out of his cage because it couldn't unlock it. So Triple H had to ages and not tap out, which was a bit weird because not only it doesn't. When Austin was in it, he tapped out instantly, and then they say, "Oh, both people can't win the title, so that doesn't count, right?"
Yeah.
And Triple H was in it way longer than he should have been, and he should have been tapping out instantly, but obviously he couldn't because he's not supposed to get eliminated.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
And this is where later in the match, Batista got an RKO, got pinned. Triple H.
Yeah, Triple H just stands there in the corner. He pretends that he's dazed, but he just literally stands there, watches him get pinned. You're like,
I think he's in the corner. He stands up and then he sits back down.
Yeah.
Which then it doesn't make any sense because it's like, well, in that case, what happened? Why didn't you help him? Because, well, why
I get
did you
it.
do something?
No, I get the logic.
You could have lost as well. You could have lost as well. So,
but you gotta think about let's just strategically, right? He's thinking, okay, I know I can beat Randy Orton, but I don't know I can beat Batista. So
yeah, but that's not the thing. The thing is, and I get that logic, right? But the logic should have been, I will have Batista and myself wear Randy Orton down to the point where when he does get a lucky shot in, then I will step out away from the light. So then, because then you could, like, for example, you could have Batista throwing the spine busters and like battering Randy Orton, and then Randy Orton just get that fluke one pin, and Triple H is like, you know what, I'm gonna actually slip on a banana peel over here.
That's too much.
And then Triple H just walks into the ring after that, right? Randy Orton's battered. He's done his RKO. He's got the pin. He's on the floor. He's flopping down. Triple H does the pedigree, and he's like, yeah,
that makes sense.
And then you don't risk losing.
Yeah. I don't know. I see the logic behind it.
What they did do was have Batista come in and spinebuster Randy Orton.
Yeah.
Triple H would win, right? But then it's like, okay, well, your plan nearly backfired, Triple H. But then again, in wrestling, right? Every time anyone double crosses anyone else, they always wait to the end of the match, whereas all that time in between,
you could have done. I've always hated that logic and like that trope, but like in Ric Flair, in Triple H's defense, like it's like, because obviously I think they talk about the foot because Batista see the footage of why you help me. He's like, well, I tried to, but my darn legs.
I was tired and exhausted.
Because which makes sense.
That's what happens when Okada went to do the Rainmaker on Kenny Omega, and Kenny Omega just dropped his knees and accidentally ducked the Rainmaker that looked like he would have taken his head off his body. Yeah,
I like that one. Yeah,
and someone else did that recently as well. Was it MJF? He flopped down and the move got missed on him.
I feel like it was Ospreay or Hangman.
Oh yeah. Hangman flopped over.
Yeah.
Ospreay was going to give him the
Hidden Blade, isn't it?
Sorry.
Hidden Blade.
Yeah. I think Hammond just fell over.
Yeah. And so, I get the Triple H thing. And then I think a couple of weeks later, it's like the Rumble. So they keep... So...
Oh, hold on. Yeah, so this is where... Yeah. Sorry, you're right.
Yeah.
And I think what their initial plan was... Before this, right... When Randy Orton lost that match, he couldn't be a contender for the title.
Yeah.
He was going to win the Royal Rumble, and then there was going to be like, well, he has to get a title because he can choose his title. So whatever happened before doesn't count, or whatever it was, yeah. But they did not expect the next thing to happen and overtake that, and then they're like, you know what, we'll just change our plans, which is good.
What was the next thing?
the thing that we're gonna speak about.
Oh yeah. Because it's come to a Rumble. Randy Orton wins a title shot against Triple H at Royal Rumble, and then the weeks leading up, Batista sees the footage of Triple H not helping him. He's like, "Oh, this is weird. Why would you not help me? We friends. Me your animal." And Triple H's like, "No, you stupid." He doesn't say it like that. Because like, yeah. Nah, tired, and you'll go on to win a Royal Rumble. Then you can challenge. Well, this happens at that happens at the Royal Rumble itself. Yeah, and then. Yeah, so he does that, and then the Royal Rumble match happens. Well, Triple H versus Randy Orton happens. Triple H wins, of course, because he's the game, and he's that damn good. And then, this Royal Rumble was amazing.
Well, first we get to the finish, because you're going to say the finish, right?
Yeah.
Before we get to the finish, I'll say during this Rumble, this is where Batista... Wait, is this one? Am I thinking of this Rumble or the Rumble before? You have to correct me if I'm right. There was a Royal Rumble where Batista was just spine busting everyone, and Ric Flair picked up the people and threw them out, and then he did a loop around like a little victory loop, Ric Flair, and then he put his hand on Batista's head to go and throw him out, and Batista stood still. And Ric Flair just kind of felt like, whipped himself right to the side. And he's like, "Oh, no, Dave, sorry."
I think it's one before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because this one was Batista more serious. Yeah.
Um,
So I can't remember that last four, but we'll get to the last two. It's Mr. Jonathan Anthony Felix Cena the second, and Uncle Dave Batista, and there's a spot where Batista is going to has him up for like a running power slam to take him over the ropes, and then Cena holds on, and he's meant to hook onto Batista or something, but they both fall out of the ring.
No, it was a powerbomb. He flipped him up for the powerbomb.
Oh yeah, that was it. Yeah, and then he goes to basically Hurricane Rudder him over, but him stay on, but he doesn't. So they both fall off.
Yeah.
And then everyone's like,
Well, first of all, everyone's like, genius.
Yeah.
Genius, because that takes skill.
Yeah.
To double win, and they all are going to go split off to fight their particular opponents, anyways. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is magnificent. Except that's not the plan.
And then another person who's been redacted comes out angry. The father of Stephanie was leaving with that, right? He comes out angry, and while trying to slide into the ring, he tears both his quad. Well, he tears one, and then tries to get up and tears the other.
He runs into the ring apron.
Yes.
Which tears basically severs one quad almost. Yeah.
Yes.
Tries to stand up, drops down, decides, all right, I'm gonna have to just sit down. Call the instructions, shout at people to tell the referees to hold the hand up of that person, their particular brand's winner, and then he's signaling to them, and then that person will throw that person out, and that person will throw that person, call themselves the winner.
Yeah, that was funny. Yeah, that was funny. Yeah.
And then he's like, all right, and restart the match, and then he tries to get out of the ring and walk by himself stubbornly to the back.
Yeah.
Tearing the other quad.
Yep. You're like, dude, man. Ugh. So then they reset the match, and then Batista throws Mr. who cannot be seen at number 17 out the ring and wins the Rumble. You're like, oh, okay, that's cool. Even they both technically go to do good things at the Rumble, at the WrestleMania anyway. So yeah, and so the animal has been unleashed. I remember I think they say at the end, the animal has been unleashed. Like, yeah, that is true, because he is the animal. And then
Triple H tries to say to him, yo, yeah, we can be double champions. You don't need to go for me, blah, blah, blah. And then for some reason, he's in the locker room. He's saying to Ric Flair, yeah, see, Dave's stupid and he's dumb, right?
Yeah, he's a dumb animal or something like that. And Dave's standing there like, I can hear you. I'm not dumb.
The only man who can break the fourth wall, apparently. Because he can watch videos that happened last week.
Yeah.
He can see things happening in front of him, right?
Yeah.
And listen.
Yeah.
He's savvy, apparently. Right?
Mm-hmm.
But no one else is.
No.
Like, everyone has to pretend the camera's not there. Do you remember the segment where Hornswoggle I think Carlio was bullying Hornswoggle, and then Hornswoggle drew a cartoon black door.
Oh
in the wall,
yeah,
ran
yeah,
in a circle, and then obviously he ran underneath the camera. But the camera was on Carlio, yeah, who sold that Hornswoggle magical leprechaun just actually cartoon ran through the wall,
yeah.
right? So then he runs in a circle and tries to do it himself, smashes into the wall, and then Ron Simmons opens the door and goes, "Damn!" Right? It's like, okay, the camera's there all the time though.
Yeah. 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 World of wrestling, right? Stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then I don't think it was pay-per-view before this, but anyway,
and actually something relevant to Batista as well, right? Which is also relevant to the camera being there. There was a segment where I can't remember. Was he having a match with Johnny Nitro? I can't remember what it was. Melina goes to seduce him, right? And then it cuts to advert break. When I say goes to seduce him, she kind of sits on his lap, right?
Yeah.
You know exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
And this is at the time, I do believe, in real life, they were.
Yeah.
So it's just like, what was how old are you guys? Anyways, and then comes back from break, and then she's like wiping her mouth or whatever, and she goes, "Oh yeah, and now you'll and so you'll throw the match, right?" And he goes, "What are you talking?
What do you mean? Yeah.
Yeah. Now you got me big pumped, ready for the match."
Yeah.
I'm like, hold on a minute, Batista, the camera's right there.
Yeah.
So. The only other time, by the way, where the camera, that I recall that they accept that one of the other times I recall that they accepted that the camera wasn't there was when it was the origin of Kane, and Jerry Lawler was talking to Paul Bearer, and they had the camera mount on with the camera, yeah.
Yeah.
And then he was asking him questions about the Undertaker and stuff like that. You know, how do you know? Blah, right?
Yeah.
And then after that segment, I say quote unquote finished, right? Jerry Lawler's like, "Oh yeah, we're done. The tape's done, yeah." And the cameraman put the camera to the side.
Yeah.
He goes, "Yeah, it's all off. I'm gonna get a glass of water. You guys want anything?" And Jerry's like, "No. I'm just gonna I'm gonna, just chat with Paul Bearer here." Yeah. And then they just give you the lowdown of the history of Kane. "Oh yeah, Jerry. When the Undertaker's back in the day when I was young and I was 19 years old, and the Undertaker's mum seduced me in the thingamajig, yeah."
Yeah.
But then the camera was recording.
Yeah.
Like, sorry. We didn't realize we just dropped a whole load of backstory to you. But the camera wasn't meant to be on. I was like, okay, well, you used it cleverly there.
Yeah. They use it cleverly when they want, which is kind of annoying.
Anyways. So yeah. Dave decided they gave him the clipboard or something. He said, "Oh yeah.
Yeah, contract signing. Yeah.
JBL. Yeah. You can fight JBL, be the champion of SmackDown. You can choose who you want to face at WrestleMania."
Yeah.
And then they're like, "Yeah, double thumbs up," and Dave's like, single thumb up, and then down.
Yeah. And then he just wrecks.
And then the person who sells the most in the ring is Ric Flair, because he's kind of like a
hyper, right? Yeah. Yeah, and then Batista powerbombs through the table and signs the contract for the Raw title, so the World Heavyweight title. So it's gonna be Triple H versus Batista at WrestleMania.
Yeah, and at this point, this is where we would say Evolution is actually finished.
Well, not till I think a month after when Triple H turns on Flair.
Okay. Yeah. Go on. Yeah, because I do want to say something about the month after, so we'll keep it relevant.
Yeah. So then, they have their match at WrestleMania. Big Batista wins.
Yeah, and Triple H comes. So this is where Batista did not have. Who still got people that sing his theme music?
Saliva.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He didn't have that Saliva theme music.
No.
He had this normal.
It's kind of the same, but not the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Triple H comes out with a massive money entrance, right? You're like, but Batista's meant to be the star of the show, as in he's going to be the next guy because he's going to win the title. It's like, why does he look so much less of a main star than Triple H? They should have given him something more hype.
No, you know what? I kind of like when the champion has that fancy entrance and the challenger doesn't, and they win. I kind of prefer it because then it's not kind of telegraphed, even though it is telegraphed.
It's not that. It's just like if you're going to have them, one, like at least have them both have similar level of entrance.
Nah, it's Triple H, man. He's put his time in. Like, you know.
Okay, well,
it's like, what would they do big for him at a point? Because he's not really the animal. He's not Batista yet. So like, well,
and they couldn't, and obviously because he didn't have the saliva, they couldn't pay him out. So.
Yeah, so it's like I kind of get it. It's like John Cena didn't have a fancy entrance and he won.
He had the machine gun pose, right? So he could have had a bunch of.
Oh, he wasn't doing that yet.
Oh, did he?
No.
Oh, okay. All right.
He wasn't doing that yet. It wasn't until after he wins the title he starts doing the boom.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay. All right.
Big teased, baby. Yeah, and then he wins.
So yeah, Triple H wins.
Batista wins.
No, sorry, Batista wins. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah. Batista bomb. Yeah.
And then the very next month they have a rematch where I remember the promo. I should have seen it in your eyes, Batista. It haunts you. It haunts your dreams. It haunts your nights and thirds. It is the pedigree, and it is the truth.
Yeah, you're like.
Just inches away, one pedigree. That's all it takes, Batista, to put you down.
Like...
They were building the whole match, right? About that for some reason. Yeah. Well, Triple H decided to cut his promo as though the pedigree is the most devastating finish in the world, the most magnificent thing to happen in all of wrestling. Yeah.
It is, but yeah.
And you think the whole point of it is to build, so Batista eats the pedigree
and it gets up.
Out.
Yeah.
No, he doesn't. It doesn't even happen. It's like, what's the point of that?
But this is quite, if I remember correctly, this is quite a violent match. Well, there's blood and stuff in this match, if I remember correctly.
I don't recall.
I don't recall that much.
Yeah.
But I know it's Batista's a definitive winner. Cause I think it's like a hardcore match or something.
Triple H at WrestleMania beats him here as well.
Yeah. And then.
Oh, it did get him over. It did get him over. It did what, like, the whole point of Evolution was to get these guys over. And
it did well. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then so then after that, Batista gets drafted to SmackDown.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that kind of like ends their feud.
And you were saying, by the way, Triple H attacks Ric Flair.
Yeah.
When is that happening?
Because after the beef, Triple H takes time off, and then Flair's kind of just doing his thing with, like, he has a match with Ric Flair turns face for some weird reason. I don't know how. Okay, and then he beats Carlito for the Intercontinental title.
Yeah,
and then
this is where, by the way, he says, "Oh, this is where Carlito went to chomp the apple and spit Ric Flair's face, and Ric Flair punched him in the throat.
Yeah,
and Carlito was choking on the apple, and they get slapped in the figure four, and he taps out.
Yeah,
and then Ric Flair says, "At my age, this Intercontinental title win is just as valuable to me as any of my world titles."
Yeah, like.
Yeah,
I get it. At your age, I get it.
Point, so,
I get it. I get it. And then so him and Carlito, if I remember correctly, him and Carlito were kind of like buddies later on. But anyway, so then they advertised Triple H coming back at something called Homecoming, an Homecoming episode of Raw. So then Triple H comes out with Flair, and he attacks Flair with Sledgehammer, and then that basically is like, yep, Evolution's done.
Way ages. Okay, I thought when you said that they broke up, I thought it was something more like closer to April time.
No, it was like in October. October. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, who did Ric Flair lose the Intercontinental title?
Well, he has a match with Flair. Flair has a match with Triple H for the Intercontinental title in a cage match, and then they have another match at Survivor Series, a Last Man Standing. But I think Flair loses it before that. I think he loses it Carlito or Shelton Benjamin.
Yeah, it might have been.
Yeah.
But because I was gonna say, as a Survivor Series match, I recall Triple H winning.
Yeah.
And Ric Flair. Well, and obviously Triple H never won the Intercontinental title unless it. But this was also a bit funny as well because this match, I believe Ric Flair took 3 pedigrees.
Maybe.
I think he took 2 pedigrees and he managed to stand up and then did a pedigree on a chair.
Sounds about right.
Which is, yeah.
Well, all right, if you get wrestling logic, the older you get, the more powerful you become. So, you know.
Yeah. Unless you cap out at a certain point and then your power level drops.
Yeah.
In wrestling. It's inconsistent.
Yeah.
It depends on who you are.
Depends who's writing that week.
Yeah.
All right,
But
so
then we'll say at that point that's the end of that was the final finish of the group known as Evolution.
yeah,
Because by the time you're only 2 people, you're not really a group. But then again,
no,
DX is only 2 people, so yeah.
but
At some
that's
point,
different though, because it kind of started as 2 wrestlers and manager and bodyguard. So that
yeah.
2 people kind of I get for DX, but yeah, anything else doesn't really make any sense. Or New Day, but yeah, either that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. So next thing I remember about Evolution is when they feud with the Shield.
Apparently,
Actually, no. We've got to lead to Batista coming back at the 2014 Royal Rumble when everyone was thinking that Daniel Bryan was going to win. And then when he got thrown out, the crowd revolted. And Roman Reigns was the last person in there with Batista, and everyone started chanting Roman Reigns' name, which then made the company think, oh yeah, Roman Reigns is getting really over. No, it's just because they didn't want Dave to win.
yeah, because people are stupid.
And then when Dave won, instead of doing the yes chant with his first fingers, he did the middle finger yes chant.
Yeah.
Because the crowd was getting on his nerves, which
I get it.
I gotta say, I mean, yeah. I want to say that was necessarily the correct behavior, yeah. But they expected to go one way, and it completely went the other way. So like at that point, you might as well just turn heel.
Yeah, but he did say he wants to come back to heel anyway. So, but I don't know how true that is, but you know, yeah.
It would have probably made a bit more sense.
Yeah.
And I think also this is when Guardians they were gonna thinking of put the title on him. So when he goes to the premiere of Guardians of the Galaxy, he's got.
Yeah, and it'll look good for the WWE. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I did the year before with The Rock.
Yeah.
Oh.
Which is why Rock should have won the title before Black Adam came out, right?
No. Oh, the film still would have been trash.
Then he could have challenged Henry Cavill to a world title match. Okay, all right. Yeah. So then that happened, and then what happened?
So so that happened, and then after that, they all weirdly. So during the match at WrestleMania, Randy and Dave start to align with each other. Yeah.
So this is got to clear things up slightly before this, because they become the Authority, and Triple H is having problems with. So Randy Orton and Batista are kind of supposed to be having their own feud, except it's getting completely overshadowed by Daniel Bryan's.
Yeah.
I think
Russell
burial,
top.
right?
Yeah.
But the crowd support is so strong that he's overcoming that completely.
Yeah.
And then so the Authority, which is Triple H and Stephanie McMahon, they're like, yeah, the more we try to bury this geezer, the more power he attains.
Yeah.
So he's like, yeah, the only way you get rid of me is if I get a match at WrestleMania, a world title match at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
He goes, no. You'll have a match against me and at the opening match of WrestleMania.
Yeah. And if you win,
then you get your title match.
Yeah.
Right? But that's when they handcuff him, and then Triple H beats the hell out of him.
Yeah. But you also forgot, I think it might be earlier in that night as well, or it might be a week before WrestleMania, where Randy Orton and Batista are having a little face-off, and Triple H is there and he goes, right, you never know. I could come in this ring and I could be the third man and beat both your asses. And it's like there's a stare down there, like, oh, okay, intriguing. Even though we know that Daniel Bryan's gonna go.
And we know also, like, so Daniel Bryan had his match with Bray Wyatt earlier on the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
Which was a really good match.
Yeah, it was a dope match. Yeah.
And he gave him the Sister Abigail into the barricade and then put him in the ring, and Sister Abigail's in, and got the pin.
Yeah. And
this is why everyone is expecting Daniel Bryan to come out and win the Royal Rumble, because.
But.
And then Rey Mysterio got booed.
Yeah.
Completely and utterly for that.
But. This is one of I say a few times. I say it's a lot about wrestling fans. Were dumb for thinking that Daniel Bryan was going to be in the match.
Well, no, I don't blame them, because you set the story one way and you think there's going to be a payoff.
But what story did they set?
The payoff was to bury the guy. Like, keep this geezer, keep this vegan, under 6 foot, under 200-pound geezer out, pale jabroni out of my WrestleMania main event.
Yeah,
that's what the logic was.
But because in the match with Bray Wyatt, they didn't set up anything that he's going to be in the Rumble. So I was like, where did you get that idea from?
Yeah.
And it wasn't like it was like a normal match. It was like quite a physical match. So it's like...
Yeah. But this is wrestling where logic does not follow itself sometimes.
Yeah.
And sometimes illogic runs
wild. Yeah.
Yeah.
Brother. Yeah.
But so that stuff's only relevant because it is what happens next during this. Where you're saying during the Royal Rumble. So Daniel Bryan beats Triple H. Triple H then
murders him
at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And then Triple H decides that, you know what, if I ain't gonna get in that world title match, no one he ain't getting in that world title match. They put him out and give him a stretcher job.
Yeah, which I thought was good.
Yeah, and then he comes back in later on in the world title match.
Yeah.
Gets and during the match, during the beginning of the match, Randy Orton and Batista are like, you know what? We were beefing between ourselves, but let's just beef on this guy.
Yeah, like, why are we beefing? We both earned our right to be here. What did he really do? Even though technically he did do a lot to get me in the match. So yeah, it's like, I get your logic. Like, let's just try and murder this guy, and it'd be me and you, you know.
Yeah.
And
so this is where it's a powerbomb RKO, but it's really a powerbomb
neck breaker,
through the table. But Randy Orton lands.
Yeah.
So the break. That's why they always pull the cameras out.
Yeah.
Because he landed right, and he didn't land on a camera per se, but he landed on one of the flat table bits.
Yeah.
Which then underneath that was a camera.
Yeah. You can see. I think you see him like, nope, that hurt. He's just like, like, yeah, dude, I feel that. But yeah, this is probably one of I don't know. I've always liked triple threat main event WrestleMania matches. I just think they've always been awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. And this is where the camera work was really good because Daniel Bryan, like I think, did Batista eat an RKO and then out of nowhere, Randy Orton gets the flying knee.
The other way around.
Was it?
Yeah. Batista spears Randy Orton, and then he turns around. That's when he gets a flying knee from. Yeah, and then
into a yes lock.
Does Batista tap out? Or was it Randy tap out?
Yeah, Batista taps out. Yeah,
oh, it'd been better if Randy tapped out. But yeah. Sorry, it would have been better if Randy tapped out.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But that was good because it's like, oh, you know what? Yeah. Makes sense. And then for some reason, they're like, yeah, the world title in that direction. We're just gonna beef with you with the Shield somehow. How did they get to that feud?
Oh, there was wait. I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to read the Wikipedia if I can remember it. Later that night, Batista and Orton Kane.
Yeah, I can't recall 100%. All I know is that.
Oh, okay. So this is what Wikipedia says, right? So for some reason, Randy and Batista teamed up to take on the Usos for the tag team titles, but they ended in a no contest because both teams got counted out. And then later, Batista Orton, along with Kane, attacked Daniel Bryan before he was set to defend his title against Triple H. But before Triple H could defeat Daniel Bryan, the Shield interrupted by spearing him and taking out Randy Orton, Batista, and Kane, allowing Daniel Bryan to win. Yeah.
Now, if I remember correctly, just before that at WrestleMania, the Shield had a match with the Outlaws and Kane.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
And that's why the rest of this is a bit more relevant.
Yeah, because the Shield would technically be a part of the Authority, but then they got screwed over somehow by the Authority, and that's why they had. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's this one where they feuding with the Wyatts.
Yeah, just before. Yeah. Because that was around October.
Like, you guys, if you're not on our side, you're against us, and therefore you're gonna, Yeah. We're gonna punish you by making you fight these guys or something like that.
Yeah, something like
anyways, and then when they interfered, when Kane, Orton, and Batista interfered later on, it's still relevant to the Shield because they were feuding with the Authority / Outlaws, the New Age Outlaws, the Old Age Outlaws.
The Middle Age Outlaws.
It's triple double powerbomb. Double triple powerbomb as they were calling it in the Shield.
Yeah.
Because they were powerbomb two of them, but on each. That's what it was.
Yeah.
So Triple H decides, I'm gonna book a whole bunch of guys versus the Shield. Not in an elimination handicap match or something like that.
It just says 11-on-3 handicap match.
Yep. And then obviously the Shield get beat up because the numbers game.
Yeah.
And if it was, by the way, I don't think it was I don't think it was an elimination.
No.
But in either case, I don't think these were all high-ranked people. Either.
No, I'm pretty sure like, I can remember like 3-man band being there or something like. Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah.
And this is where then yeah, even hold on, a little bit before this, Randy Orton and Batista were having beef with the Shield. And Triple H walks in the middle of them and goes, "We don't want to make this into some sort of war."
Yeah.
So yeah. That was the bit where you were saying with Kane and
yeah.
But yeah, it's like we don't want to make this, and then Kane suddenly is not in the war.
No.
Right?
No. It's evolution. Yeah.
And so then so when the Shield gets stomped by these 11 people, they decide they're gonna leave leave
their corpses.
The Shield laying in the ring dead.
Yeah.
Then the Vultures come.
Yeah.
Evolution is a
mystery. And it had the new Evolution tops, which I think I bought that one where it's got the skeletons of them doing their poses. I think I got that. Yeah, it was dope, man.
And it got a pop as well. So
yeah.
Hey, man.
Because Evolution's great. Minus Flair.
Yeah.
Because I think it was at TNA at the time.
And then they go and batter the Shield, which then makes
Yeah.
Of course, because now you're trying to get a new set of guys over.
Yeah. And their feud, I thought this feud was amazing. It was cool.
Which is, I thought, okay. Now this is a strange feud in the sense that the guys that had multiple world titles between them, right?
Yeah.
And a whole bunch, and the guys who've only had like the tag titles and the US title at that point.
Oh, he still had a US title, didn't he? At this point, for no reason.
Did he still have it? I can't remember.
Yeah, because in this feud, that's when he ended up losing it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Which is like, all right. I mean, you would expect the guys with all the multiple titles.
Yeah.
In fact, Triple H by himself. No, I was going to say Triple H by himself had more titles than the whole of the Shield. But you know what?
Yeah.
All of them.
Yeah. All of them. Yeah.
The guy who had the lowest amount of titles had more world titles than the combined Evolution Shield.
Yeah. So you got about that. Oh, Evolution. Yeah.
But yes, they had the 6-man tag at. What was the one after?
Extreme Rules? Yeah, Extreme Rules,
I'm trying to think. Is it Backlash?
No, Extreme Rules.
After WrestleMania?
Normally it is. But I think, no, this is where sometimes they change them around. Sometimes it's Backlash, then it's Payback, or it's Extreme Rules. They changed them. I don't know why.
And this was the standard 3-on-3.
Yeah.
I say a standard 3-on-3, but you know how it is.
Yeah, it just tends up to be.
Rules don't seem to count only on occasion, right?
Yeah.
This is the one where Seth Rollins dives off the top.
I think that's the no holds bar one.
Oh, that's the one later on.
Yeah,
the elimination one later on, yeah?
Yeah.
All right, but at the beginning of this match, Ric Flair comes out, right? And you're thinking, oh, right, so it's going to be proper.
Evolution! Right?
Yeah. It's going to be proper Evolution, old school Evolution, except that he comes out and he goes on the mic and he says, "You guys, yes, you're the greatest, whatever." And you're thinking, oh, right. He's going to butter them up.
Yeah.
Except that then he turns to the Shield and says, "But you guys are going to be better than them. You guys are the next step in pro wrestling. You guys are more than, you'll take this industry to another level and stuff like that." And then you're like, the Evolution's like, what?
Wait, what? Hey, Flair, how much they pay you? We pay you more. No.
Yeah. But I think the logic of it is Ric Flair to put them over. Then Evolution themselves to put the Shield over.
Yeah. Which Ric Flair's kind of right. They have actually, paved the way of the wrestling now. So. Yeah.
Well, I will say when you're in a more scripted environment, you can progress the story of however you want. And most of the time, it will take. And if it's not, then you can, quote unquote, force the fans to accept it. Even though Roman Reigns for 3 years, for 5 years, was it? My goodness,
5.
That guy didn't get the
But then after that, he is what he is now, and
when he was true to himself. When
he was allowed to be him.
Yeah, exactly.
The tribal chief. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Moxie doing all right.
So this is So I think this was a really good match actually.
Yeah, man.
Um,
Both their matches are really good. Yeah, I enjoyed both of them.
Yeah, but this was meant to be a more straightforward match, which it wasn't.
Yeah.
And Batista took the pin here, which was, okay.
Yeah, Dave's doing his good deed on the way out. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Roman Reigns getting the pin, but then at that point, I think people were more accepting of Roman Reigns.
Yeah. It wasn't until a couple of months later. Yeah, which I get why, but yeah. And then
Payback, they had the
elimination one, isn't it?
Sorry.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say about, and then it was Payback. It was the elimination match, right?
Yeah.
And she'll clean sweep.
Yeah. With Triple H at the end, right, left by himself, and then the Shield, he gets speared by Roman Reigns, and of course, Yeah. But then at that point, they knew exactly who they're gonna.
Yeah.
Who are they pushing? The one guy who gets the pin. Yeah. But fair dues to Evolution, right? They accepted.
Yeah.
To take the pins.
Yeah.
Because they knew. Like, first of all, Batista wasn't going to be that long. Right after this year is where the betrayal of the century happens.
Yeah.
Because it's like, is this where Batista's like, all right,
I'm done. Bye.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then
Blue
like,
T-Star.
Right, well, we can't feud with the Shield if we haven't got enough members. So there's always a plan B.
Yeah. And then Seth murders. No, he hits Reigns first, and then I'm just calling him Moxley because he hit me called Ambrose in like 9 years at this point. Ambrose turns around like, what? And then he gets hit.
Super shock cell.
Yeah.
Like, he couldn't even react himself.
Yeah.
He's frozen in place.
Yeah. And then Seth joins. He corporates up. He cashed in. Yep.
Yeah. I didn't sell out. I cashed in. Okay, that's fair.
Makes sense. Yeah. Makes sense. Yeah.
And we will say that, and that is the proper end of Evolution, right? Unless you're gonna say when Batista comes back and has his match with Triple H.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say the lead up to that match was dope. Yeah. Where?
Okay, so we are gonna cover that, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
okay, go on.
It happens at Raw 1000 where they have like a little reunion with Evolution and like they're like saying we had great times, and then Batista went to Triple H, but you've never beaten me. It was like, haha, we're all friends still. And like, we're friends, huggies. And then it went till late, so that happened in October 2018, and then in I want to say January or February of 2019, they're having a birthday party / career thing for Ric Flair, and all his friends are invited and everything, and there's a little party, and they go, we're gonna go to the ring and do the ceremony. So they'll go to the ring, have a little ceremony, like everyone who was important to Ric Flair's career is there. I think even Sting's there. Yeah, that's crazy. Shawn Michaels, Randy Orton, Triple H, Ricky Steamboat, and they're like, now just wait. Stephanie McMahon, just waiting for the guy to come out. And then I liked how this was done. And then it cuts to backstage, and you see Batista grab a cameraman and say, follow me. Like, what? Yeah. And then he was the room, and he comes out and starts dragging Ric Flair, who's all a bloody mess. And he brings him to the ring, and he goes, they just start shouting out, I'm like, give me what I want.
You've never beaten me.
Yeah. I was like, okay. And then that led to, obviously, their WrestleMania match. But I like the build to it. It was just...
That also led to, give me what
I want. Yeah. What I want. What I really, really want is Zig Zig. Oh, yeah. To all the awesome memes and stuff.
Tell me what I want.
Oh.
This is what I want.
Yeah, I like that. And then
you give me what I want, I'll tell you what.
I'll tell you what I want.
Like, wow. And what they were saying afterwards is like Triple H was trying to get Batista to get to the point where he's saying the match will happen, like, threatening to give him the match.
Yeah.
Except Batista was telling him, saying his lines, but forgot the more important part of it.
Yeah.
So they just kept on going back and forth. What do you want? You tell me what you want. Exactly what I want. You know what I want.
I think that made it better. If it was like proper scripted, I don't think it would have been as good. Yeah, that bit. Yeah.
Eventually, is this what you want?
Yeah. Oh.
That is exactly what I want.
And then they had a match with WrestleMania 35, which was alright.
Just before you get to that as well.
Yeah.
Raw, because people are taking the piss and saying it's the Spice Girls song, just like
thing,
right? And so then Triple H on that next Raw was like, "Oh wait, so this I have exactly the transcript of what Dave Batista wants from me," and then he pulls it out and he actually reads out the line.
Oh, and then then they had their match at WrestleMania, which I thought was good. You could tell they both were just having fun. They enjoyed it.
Yeah, and I know they're doing like they're having all the smoke and mirrors tricks to cover their efficiencies. But at that point, Triple H, they were saying they couldn't practice it really because Triple H didn't want to cause himself an injury.
Yeah.
And then they called off the match.
Yeah.
And Dave hadn't been in the ring for quite a while as well. So fair enough. I accept that what they did in the lead up was fine. You know? And during the match. The bit where Batista had his nose ring and then Triple H got the pliers. To pull them out. Dave quickly
pulled it out. Yeah.
He unlatches it and then he sells it and like he's got pulled out of his nose. Oh. And the tricky one where Dave is by the announcer table. Triple H has a chain. He swings the chain. Yeah. And then the top of the chain hits the announcer table, so then it flops on Batista's back.
Yeah.
To not injure too much, but the swing and the impact made it look like it hurt way more than it did. Yeah. By the time the bit that does not go like the most of the bit goes through on the table, and then the bit that
flats back, ricochets back,
down, it gets his back, but still, okay.
Yeah. There was another thing I thought was the funny bit where even Batista laughed when he tries to get in the ring and he kind of buckles, and then he goes wait, and does the entrance again. I was like, he starts laughing. I was like, oh, Dave, man, you just love it. Yeah.
It was the so I know during the Shield match, the elimination match, Randy Orton and Triple H were wearing black, and Triple H was, and Batista
blue Tista.
Like, blue Tista.
Yeah. Oh man, I love Dave. He's great.
Look, as far as the legacy of
Evolution.
Good on them. The group was exactly what like. It wasn't super dominant, but it was dominant enough. He had all the titles, but it clearly built to a certain point.
Yeah.
But obviously, being Triple H, right? He's gonna do what he had to. This man has been in the most groups I think I've known. Like DX, original DX, yeah. DX 2.0. Right? Yeah. I know that I will say that. They got different titles, but they got the same title, but they're really different groups. Yeah. Then he was in the corporate ministry.
Yeah.
Then he was in Evolution?
Well, technically he was in DX again. But yeah, well.
No, he was in Evolution, then he was back in DX, yeah?
Yeah. Well, he was in NWO for like 2 minutes before he pedigreed before he pedigreed.
Well, yeah, but if he's not proper in it,
no.
Yeah. And then he was in The Authority.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
7 groups. I'm sure I've missed out a group somewhere that he was.
It was the 2-man power trip when it was him and
yeah. I'll count that as a group because they had that was his part of his career.
Well, he hasn't been in more faction than Ric Flair, even though Ric Flair's faction was the same thing like 18 different times. Yeah.
Wait, no, but you can't. The Four Horsemen, technically speaking, the Four Horsemen is one faction.
But then there's all the different iterations of the Four Horsemen he was in, and then we had Fortune. What was the stupid sign for it? Whatever
Fortune,
it was.
A group that supposed to have 4 people but never had 4
had like 8, but yeah. Then he was in Evolution. I'm pretty sure I'm missing out other stuff that Flair was in.
I will count the. I want to count the Four Horsemen as an umbrella term for the entire group because he was consistently in it. Yeah. But then again, okay, so DX and DX 2.0 with Shawn Michaels, I will count as one together, yeah?
Yeah.
But DX 2010 or whatever it was, yeah?
2006,
both versions of DX, 97 and the other. I count them as, they probably one that's a group that got revived, yeah? But the other DX group where Triple H was the leader, that is a whole separate DX group.
Not really. But then that's the kind of same as the Four Horsemen analogy then, because he was in both of those iterations.
Well, that's probably 12 iterations of Horse, man.
Yeah, I'm saying, but so then Triple H was in the 2 iterations of DX, so that's just one. I'm gonna put it that way, and then technically the corporation and the Ministry of Dark, the corporate ministry is kind of just a merger, so that's still technically one faction. But yeah. But
but look, Evolution did its job.
Yeah.
And then they did the actual job.
Yeah, exactly. They
got themselves over.
Yeah.
Right. And then they used that to get the Shield over.
Yeah.
Which I don't think was the end game. Yeah.
I think
because you know what I mean. That's long-term storytelling. That's like from.
Oh. Yeah.
10 years later, we're gonna have a payoff.
Yeah. No, I don't think that was long. Yeah. I think it meant when they did the job for the Shield, like that wasn't meant to happen. But yeah, I get what you mean. Yeah. Would they have future-proofed themselves that much? I don't think so.
No, exactly.
Yeah. Like in 10 years, unless he saw that Seth Rollins, like he was like in his late teens, early 20s, like in 10 years' time, I'm gonna put you over. He's like, I'm still in school.
According to Young Rock, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Then Roman Reigns, they already knew he was gonna be a star.
Yeah.
So then they were like, oh yeah. Him.
Yeah. I remember people saying that was hinting to them having a match. Like, that match ain't happening.
Eventually, at some point.
It's not going to happen. I don't want it to happen.
I'm still waiting for Vin Diesel to fight The Rock.
That's more likely to happen then.
We'll see. Fast and Furious 7, yeah? Fast and Furious 11, triple threat match. You got Hobbs, you got Jason Momoa's character, and you got Vin Diesel.
Yeah.
And we'll see who's the biggest man within the Fast and Furious.
The biggest big short man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
I was gonna say bald man, but Jason Momoa ruined it because of hair.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. That film's meant to come out.
But yeah. But now looking 10 years beyond the point where Evolution lost to the Shield, and the Shield is some of it by brute force.
Yeah.
Actually become the future of the industry.
Yeah.
You know?
Like
they're always within the main event or the top tier.
Yeah. Even the guy who isn't in the company anymore, he's
but he's the top tier he's one of the top guys in the other company.
Yeah.
So.
And that's kind of not, is it willingly at this point? But yeah. I mean, like...
Well, damn, Darby Allin, right? If he didn't have to go to climb Mount Everest.
Yeah, would have been over ages ago. Yeah. But hey,
All
In's coming soon, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, but we don't get there. We don't get there.
No.
We'll say the one that had the hardest task of the Shield to become a main event star.
Yeah.
Well, I also had the easiest, by the way.
Yes, it's weird. Yeah, double-edged sword, isn't it? He's had the hardest and the easiest at the same time. Poor guy. Yeah.
But they did right by those guys. So in the end, when Evolution did do the jobs twice as well, they didn't even get to win any of the matches against the Shield.
Yeah.
They were like, we're coming to the end of our. Well, I have to say, 10 years ago, right? They still had the England career, except for Batista, who decided he was going to do movies, which good for him, right?
Yeah.
But Randy Orton's still got a career going now.
Yeah.
Triple H only retired like what?
2 or 3 years ago, isn't it?
Yeah.
It was during COVID, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, because of the hot thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
He still had a decent career after that.
Yeah. But it's crazy when you think about it, right? Because after that, he was doing like he would fight at WrestleMania sort of thing, isn't it? It's crazy.
Yeah.
And you think about it, right? 10 years ago, Randy Orton was 35. Crazy, isn't it? Like, I keep forgetting how like young he started. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh. And he's like twice the size he was back then, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, now he's less to do like with. He has to work. He doesn't need to work as hard now as he did back.
Yeah.
He could just pose and RKO.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, literally. But I feel like now.
What happened with Joe Hendry, right?
Yeah, which is great. Like I feel like now, like when you see Randy Orton, he seems like he's actually in. You know, he has a phase where it's like he's just there to do what he's doing.
Yeah.
But like now, it seems like he actually enjoys it.
Yeah.
Because he probably has the freedom to do what he wants. Yeah.
Exactly. He doesn't need to care.
No.
You know?
Yeah. Which makes him care.
Yeah. In a good way.
Yeah.
Back in the day when he didn't care, it was like because it was bad behavior. You know?
Yeah. Wow, man, we've seen him grow up, really. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, Evolution, man. Great faction.
Yeah, and Ric Flair still being around, but
He's another one. He has his good moments, and then he does something that takes him back like 16 steps. Like, wow, man, Rick, just
figure four finance, right? Would you? This man can't manage his own money. Why would you?
Why would you trust? Yeah, I've been divorced 4 times, and I owe lots of money, but figure four finance. No, last person to take financial advice from. But yeah. Oh, but yeah, man.
But yes, yeah. I at the time of when Evolution was around, which actually was not that long, when you look at it.
No, it's like 4 years. I mean, 3 years is that.
They did dominate the scene, but they didn't dominate the scene to the point where you're like
unbearable.
It's a vanity project.
Yeah. Like, it's not really bad. Like most of Jeff Jarrett's early days in TNA.
And I will say, as much as when the TNA kind of did the same with the main event Mafia.
Yeah.
That was a bit more of a
vanity project.
Like when they won the titles, when Kurt Angle had the world title.
Booker and
Steiner had the tag title.
Yeah.
Harlem Pump.
Yeah.
Nash had the Legends title.
Yeah.
Someone had the X Division title.
Did they?
Yeah. They had all the titles, I think. At that point, did Samoa turn on?
Maybe, but even when Samoa Joe joined, that made no sense. But yeah.
Oh no, maybe they didn't have all the titles. Maybe they didn't have. Maybe they.
I think that's the only. I think that's the only one I didn't have. But yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, because Nash won that title for that pay-per-view, and then he lost it the week after. Then he won it back, and then lost it again, or something.
Yeah, something.
Very
we covered this, didn't we? Yeah, it was something stupid.
Yeah. I think more of a let's have all the titles on these guys, even though they didn't have all the titles.
Yeah, let's do the opposite of what Evolution are doing. Yeah. As in, like, putting people over. Yeah.
These were guys that should be putting other people over, and they didn't.
Yeah. Because they were all in their 40s at that point. Yeah.
Oh. Exactly. But like, look, as much as I want to say, I sometimes criticize Triple H for his politicking.
Yeah.
The payoff for Evolution 10 years later.
Yeah.
was well done.
Yeah. It was. Yeah. I feel like Evolution was a success. Yeah. Yeah, they were Hall of Famers.
And funny enough as well, it's like they had a legacy beyond their own.
Yeah.
If you want, like putting other people over, they individually all got over.
Yeah.
As well, and they didn't just except for the Reign of Terror, right?
Yeah, which is great. But yeah.
Which you're saying.
The Reign of Terror needed to happen, right?
Yeah.
It needed to happen. Like, if it didn't, I don't think wrestling would be around anymore, if I'm honest. Because, like, which Reign of Terror do you remember, right? His Reign of Terror, Triple H's, or Jeff Jarrett's one?
Yeah, but that's different because Triple H's one involved racism.
Well, yeah.
Involved burials.
But Jeff Jarrett's one technically involved racism as well, with wrong truth killings.
Yeah, but not to that level.
No.
And Ron Killings did win the title, anyways.
Yeah, but then he got it. Then Jeff Jarrett got it back, and then had it for like another 12,000 years.
That's a little bit different.
Yeah.
As long as that, and I'm as long as, I was gonna say something, but then I was like, I don't know. There's only certain levels of
racism you can take.
You can't really.
No.
It's only levels of racism you can allude to.
Yeah, right? Before being full out racist. Yeah.
Like when Colonel Robert Parker.
Yeah, that
WCW come out with Booker T and Stevie Ray in chains.
Yeah.
Calling them Kane and Cole, and it's like, I mean, you know,
you guys should know better. Yeah.
and he was dressed as like he was like his Kentucky Fried Chicken geezer.
Yeah.
Colonel Sanders.
Yeah, not the greatest.
They should have done the other way around, by the way. They should have had a black guy in a white suit.
Two white guys. Yeah,
that would have been something.
That would have been something. That would have been like revolutionary. Time like, wow, they're sending a message
guys,
here.
Like they said, right? I won these guys in a card game. Yeah.
Yeah. Another thing, like, why did you think that was okay? Oh, racism, eh? Can't live with it. Can't
Well,
live with it.
look, we all know that Booker T should have won that. Like at that time, Booker T should have won that match. Right?
Yeah.
And then, like I said, Goldberg should have won his match as well.
No.
And I'm not saying Scott Steiner should have won.
No, no. But yeah, I get you mean. Yeah.
That's why it's the Reign of Terror.
Yeah, like I said, man, I love the Reign of Terror. I loved it at the time. It's not me just like being a hipster or anything. I legit loved it.
It's funny as well because Triple H, like with his click buddies, yeah, where they all lose to like Nash, Shawn Michaels, Scott Hall, and Triple H and Six Pack. Monty Freaker, they mind losing to each other.
Yeah,
Evolution don't mind losing to each other either. So there's something there. You know?
Yeah, but technically, did Triple H actually lose to Evolution? Like he first title lost, did he actually lose it to someone from Evolution? He found it in a ring. He lost it.
Well,
he lost it while in a match. You know, he just forgot to pick up at the end.
Well,
you know.
Yeah, but he lost it to Goldberg as well. So that's the very first.
Yeah. Goldberg.
All right, we are going to sign off from talking about Evolution.
Yes.
They did well. Thumbs up to them. Not sarcastically, of course.
No.
Like, you know what?
Shit.
And then they used their legacy to put other people over.
Yeah. They're great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who was your favorite? Before we can sign off, though, who was your favorite member of Evolution?
I have to say, I'm not. I wasn't a fan of any member of Evolution.
Wow. That's.
I'm not saying, by the way, they're terrible.
Wow.
Or anything. They weren't my flavor.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. Mine would have to be. I don't know, like obviously, like Triple H is like one in my top 5 rest of all time, but Evolution wise, I don't know. I think because he was young and cool, it would have been Randy Orton.
I think it's personally, as much as I do enjoy varying ring styles, the wrestling ring style that I do prefer is the AJ Styles ring style, where you can do mix of high flying, technical, like
I like that, but then
none of the Evolution members actually wrestle like that.
See, I like that style, but then my problem with that style is even a lot of my wrestlers that have that style, it's that person's always the underdog.
Well, Samoa Joe kind of does that style, and
I wouldn't say Samoa Joe does the same style as AJ.
No, what I'm saying is a mix of like not like even Bret Hart and Owen, right? Where there's a mix of technical and you can do some like
not Bret.
And stuff up.
Same with Scott Hall. Yeah, I mean, same with Scott Hall. So that's not really helping. Like, so Bret, like again, Bret's a good wrestler, but when I got older, I realized his style bores me.
Okay.
Yeah, like I was more of an Owen Hart guy. I realized that later. That I'm more of an Owen Hart guy.
Owen is a more exciting in-ring athlete,
yeah.
Obviously. But Bret choreographs his matches so logically and in a specific way. Like, everything makes sense.
Yeah, but like, we'll sign off of this. Like again, I like high flyers. Like, but when you think like. One of the greatest high flyers is Eddie Guerrero, right? But whenever he was like a heel, he wouldn't do he would tone back the high flying stuff because the high flying stuff is kind of like a hope spot. You know what I mean?
I will say the thing is about Evolution is they all had a similar in-ring style.
Yeah.
Batista went more to the power. Direction,
yeah.
And Ric Flair went more to the sneaky direction.
Yeah. And then Randy was kind of like a bit of all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Triple H was Triple H.
Diverse enough in their ring.
Yeah.
Methods.
Yeah.
I won't say a ring style because they were different, right? It's just the way they put this stuff together and how they.
Is quite similar. Yeah. It wasn't sort of like a mix up when you like.
And the most underdog was Ric Flair at that point, but only because he was
old.
He had to be sneaky, you know?
Yeah, which makes sense. Yeah. But I get that. It's not like, say, for example, DX 2.0, we'll say, right? Their style was kind of different. Well, I say kind of. It was only like X-Pac. It was like the technical high flyer.
You had Triple H being technical, I think.
Yeah, he was
But
more technical.
Road Dogg and Billy Gunn are Road Dogg's are definitely a brawler.
Yeah, because he can't wrestle. But yeah.
And Triple H, and Billy Gunn a bit more of a power guy. So.
Yeah. So yeah, yes, it's right there. Yeah. I get that. Yeah. Well, like a New Day.
Okay.
That was a good mixture. Yeah.
We will now sign off for this fully evolved episode of
Yes, and I have been the man who stumbled into a ring at SummerSlam 2004 and won a world title. It was just there, so I picked it up and became the youngest world heavyweight champion. To this day, still.
I'm the man who pedigrees other men on
other men
chairs.
Oh, say pedigree other men. Saying that, I've never actually seen that.
It's not happened.
Yeah, no, I'm saying that. You see people powerbomb someone onto someone, but yeah, never seen a pedigree into someone. Yeah, that'd be weird. Yeah, would it make sense? Yeah. Yes.
See you, John. And
yeah, thank you for listening to us talk about the evolution of man. That's all right. Don't forget to leave us a review over on the podcasting apps, and if you watch this on the YouTube, give us a thumbs up. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and also don't forget to follow us on our social media channels, which is on the top of the screen if you're watching this on YouTube, and if not, it's in the description part on the podcasting app thing. And until next time, guys, I'd like to thank you all for taking a trip with us around the era evolving. See what I did there? Multiverse. Catch you guys next time. Bye.
bye.
Evolution.